what should I do and how should I plan to move abroad with US based retirement accounts, rather that's an IRA, rather that's a 401k, rather that's a 403b, all of the things, right? So, what better way to answer your question, because I can't answer it, than to bring someone who has been doing this for decades, someone who is an expert in this line of work. He's also one of the instructors in our Maximize Assets, Grow Abundance community. And we'll talk more about that a little later. But I want everyone to have enough time to, ask our guest questions at the end. So if you do have questions, go ahead, put a Q, in the subject. I mean, right before you ask the question, and I'll be sure to make sure that they get answered. So again, today's topic is all about retiring abroad with US-based retirement accounts. Excuse me, some of y'all know, my allergies were acting up last night. They're acting up a little tonight, but we're going to get through this. So why is this important? Is Hakeem's allergies acting up too?
Yeah, it's that season. I get the post nasal drip. So we're going to work through it all.
We're going to work through it. But this is important now because, as we know, in today's world, 2025, many people are increasingly considering retiring abroad or even moving abroad, right, before retirement, but are not sure how to manage the savings and retirement in their US-based accounts. And that is why Hakeem Webb, our guest for tonight, is here. And so I'm just going to tell you guys what I know about Hakeem. And if you're part of the MAGA community, y'all could put in the chat just how amazing and what a wealth of knowledge this man is. But there's a reason why I asked him to specifically be one of the instructors in our Maximize Assets, Grow Abundance Wealth Accelerator course. And he did not disappoint, to the point where after our first session, a couple of the students were like, I already got my money's worth. I already got my money's worth. And Hakeem was the instructor for that first session. So without further ado, Hakeem, can you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the question and answer the top questions that people are asking?
Absolutely. There's a saying that we hear, can anything good come out of Nazareth? And I used to hear, can anything good come out of the Bronx? Well, you got two Bronx heads right here, the north part of the Bronx. Kim and I grew up together, and her brother was together, went to school, junior high school, in college. And so I'm one of the first Black Americans to put an independent wealth management office on Wall Street as an owner. And this is on the heels of me being actually denied internships, junior internships on Wall Street. And I mentioned the name, major investment bank, Goldman Sachs back then, told me I wasn't from the right school or the right color. And my mother had shared with me, don't let it make you bitter, let it make you better. And I just kept pressing, had great mentors like the late Reginald Lewis, which is how I got steered to Virginia State. And then I had other great mentors, Ken Chenault, Chris Christoph, Darwin Davis Sr. And as a prodigy, I got into a program that got me onto Wall Street early. And I used to just learn quite a bit. And I worked my way up literally from a receptionist, mailroom, then corporate headquarters in Manhattan in benefits, learned everything about benefits, and ultimately was given an opportunity to go into a research analyst position. And then after research analyst position, I asked a major question that pertains to what is this number that I keep seeing called PCs? And that stood for production credits, and it still stands for. And the assistant VP was kind of crazy. You know, he rushed me into his office, closed the door, shut the door. And he said, like there was anybody there, it got real quiet. That's money. And I said, holy cow, I'm on the wrong side of the table. And I'm doing these reports. I'm reporting to senior level management. At that time, I had helped with a merger with Equitable, merging with AXA. And then I went back to my mentor, Darwin Davis, Senior, may rest in peace, and asked him, how do I get on the outside versus the inside? And I wanted to go on the investment banking arm of Donaldson Lufkin Generette. And he urged me, go on a retail side. You can do great, much more better for our community and for the people. You have a longer career than investment banking. And pretty much I listened to everything Darwin told me to do. I'm a good student. I'm a good listener, and I follow instructions. And so when, from high school, I wanted to be in the investment banking side. But when he said, do it, I did it. And I worked my way up. They allowed me a special exclusion to actually work in corporate because the work I had done was excellent and they couldn't replace me. And then they allowed me to go out into the field and build a business. So I had dual opportunities there. And then ultimately, life will have it. I got an opportunity to open up an office right on Wall Street. And I no longer was an employee on Wall Street. I became an owner on Wall Street, and I'm still an owner to this day. If you want to have more information, details in my bio, I believe Kim placed my firm's website somewhere on this channel, but I'll just say it out loud. It's www.ncfainc.org. You can find out more about my bio. You can find out about our great services. We're disrupting many areas on Wall Street again. It was record breaking to actually be an owner and establish an independent wealth management office on Wall Street as one of the first Blacks to do so. And now we're disrupting things in the real estate world, which we picked up our first client in the investment banking side, which we rolled that out at the top of the year and picked up our first client in investment banking to disrupt real estate. Many people know about REITs, where you can buy residential, commercial, and get fraction shares of it. But we're taking that to a whole nother level. And now we're going to allow you to have a tokenized real estate properties, both residential, commercial, and other products, but we're rolling out. And it just went live today, Edifice X. And the first property just went live today on the platform. And it's the first ever tokenized real estate platform. We can buy and sell real estate and get fractions of not the mortgage, but of the actual property, and do it in a tokenized way. So that's phenomenal. And there's other things I'll share throughout the evening about what we're doing that's actually germane to this international piece.
Listen, I don't know if y'all picked up what Hakeem was putting down, but he's been around some heavy hitters. If you don't know the names that he has shouted out that he grew in this industry with, like the Ken Chenaults of the world, do yourself a favor, ask ChatGPT or Google, because they're the best of the best, the creme de la creme, as is Hakeem. And as you see, I've listed his website on the screen. It will also be pinned at the top of the chat and also in the description. So when you guys get a chance, you can reach out to him after this session for additional help. So how we're going to do it is going to be kind of fluid. There are questions that are common that come up. And I will go through those as much as I need to, but I know as Hakeem speaks, he will probably answer some of those questions. So I had a list of 10 questions. We may get through 7, but all of the answers will be provided. So, and again, if you have a question, if you don't put the QQQ or the Q in front of it, then you may get overlooked. But let's just go ahead and jump into the first question. So simply, it's all about the basics, right? We need to understand the basics. And I kind of rambled off some of the types of retirement accounts, but Hakeem, can you just quickly share with us what are the most common types of U.S. retirement accounts that people have that
Absolutely
would, fall under this topic?
Absolutely. And most people are familiar with the 401k now. That is probably the most popular retirement plan, at least employer-sponsored retirement plan that we have underneath the tax code, Employee Retirement Security Act. It's called the 401k. And that's for corporations. If you work for major corporations like Delta, American Airlines, Coca-Cola, Amazon, Microsoft, you're going to more likely have a 401k. Home Depot, to name a few. And if you work for not-for-profit, it's going to be a 403b. And if your not-for-profit is contributing or giving you some dollars, they have a 401a, and sometimes have both. And they will split them up. And it's just a way for them to contribute, vest you, so you don't pull their money out instantly. You have to stay there for several years. And then, of course, you have your 403b. And then if you work for municipality, it's going to be a 457 plan. In days of old, I want to say before 1986, if memory serves me correct, uh, these plans operated differently, vastly different. And truth be told, the 457 was a tremendous plan as it pertains to how you pull money out. They didn't have the 59 rule. We had to be 59 and a half, which is now it's only 59. Now they pretty much all equal in terms of contributions, indoor, how you pull money out. But you have the 401k, you have the 401a, you have the 403b, you have the 457. And then I'm going to mention one, especially because I believe there's a lot of entrepreneurs on the YouTube channel. I know there was some in the MAGA group that we lectured that you don't hear a lot about. And it's called a solo 401k, or some institutions call them a UniK, but it's basically a 401k set up for entrepreneurs. And if you're an entrepreneur, specifically yourself, your spouse, or just you, and you don't have non-family or non-spouse employees, you can set up this solo 401k, which it'll work exactly like the 401k at a corporation, and then it goes beyond that. And this is a way to help sole proprietors, to help independent contractors, because sole proprietors have the highest tax liability out there. Independent contractors also pay a tremendous amount in taxes. And this is a way where you can, put away an enormous amount of money, some up to almost $69,000 a year, depending on pre-tax as well as profit sharing, for you to put money away to. And we'll talk more about that as well. But those are the three types of plans: corporate, not-for-profit, municipalities, and then there's certain rules that governs them. And I feel, certainly go over what those rules are as we continue through it.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Hakeem. And for the 53 people that I see in this room right now, I need for you to go ahead, hit the like button. That just helps the algorithm get this information out to more people that may not be aware of this conversation. It will be live for replays, so you can come back and watch it over and over and over again. And Hakeem will be back with us next week as well. And for most of April, which is National Financial Literacy Awareness Month. So we're excited about that as well. And again, if you have questions, I can't search for them. So please just put the Q in front of it. If you're new here, that makes it easy for me to spot. So going on to the next question. You talked about the various types of retirement accounts and even mentioned the solo 401k, which we'll talk more about next week. But is there anything just off the top, general, that we need to know, people who may be interested in expatriating or even, taking a sabbatical? Is there anything that we need to know?
Absolutely. And so when you look at going abroad, as it pertains to investing and managing your retirement plan, you're not going to have a problem with that as a U.S. citizen going abroad. It deals mostly with if you're trying to contribute. So there's a little acronym that I pronounce it FEIE, FEIE, and that's the foreign earned income exclusion. Foreign earned income exclusion, FEI, or FEIE, if you will, FEIE, as the acronym FEIE, foreign earned income exclusion. And that's what you have to be mindful for as a U.S. citizen going abroad. And there's certain criteria that you have to meet to qualify. But this deals with the contribution part. So there's several components to your retirement plan. You have the contribution, you have the investing, you have the accumulation, and then you have the distribution. And so when it comes to those particular retirement plans, with the exception of a traditional IRA, when you're looking at a 401k, a 403b, a 457 plan, these are pre-tax plans. And it's normally employer sponsored. And if you're self-employed, you can use the solo, as I mentioned. But these plans go in pre-tax. And every now and again, I'm asked, put money in a Roth. Should I put money in a Roth? Should I put money into my 401k? And there's a lot of talking heads that I totally disagree with. And I've disagreed with many of them for decades. And I know a great many of them personally. And we have debates offline talking about it because they speak about the taxation of it all. But as a foreign patriot, you're going expatriate, it's the foreign earned income exclusion. And if you satisfy 3 criterias, then you can earn up to $130,000 and not have that be federally taxed in the United States. Now, the United States is one of the most interesting countries in the world as pertains to taxation and how you earn income. No matter where you are in the world, the federal government wants you to pay taxes. So if you were in Timbuktu making money, Uncle Sam says, listen, I want to tax that thing. Now, your current president campaign to try to get rid of this. I'm not sure if he's going to or not. They got a lot of stuff they're dealing with right now, as I'm sure you know. But yeah, that's what you got to be mindful of. The foreign earned income exclusion, you get to exclude $130,000. And this is important for taxes because you don't want to be double taxed in the local locality there as well as the Fed. And so most people want to get that excluded. But if you get that excluded, then you don't have any earned money to put into your retirement plan. And so if you are still in the accumulation phase, you got to weigh it out. Do I get it excluded and now I can't put money in? Or do I put money in and don't get excluded? And that's just good tax strategy and tax planning that, we help a lot of our clients with.
Listen, there's a lot that I don't know. And so I am so happy that we are having these conversations because, and I think you're aware, I do consultations with individuals who are specifically looking to get residency in Mexico. And this is one of the questions that I get often. So if I leave, what happens to my money? Do I have to transfer all my money to a, foreign bank? And, I can't answer. And so I thank you for being here to answer that. And one of the other popular questions is how, and you don't have to get deep in this, but are taxes, what are the tax implications for someone who does decide to retire abroad, but draws down or gets retirement money? Do they have to pay? Is it like a double taxation thing? Can you talk a little bit about?
Absolutely. So excellent question. And we have some great people that we are affiliated with that we tend to work with the tax experts on this. And I'm not sure if your viewers know Cedric. He's someone that I certainly will recommend you work with on your taxation side. He does a phenomenal job. He's also a good friend, as I mentioned at the top. But you want to plan. Taxes is a afterthought. Your investments, you have to do investment planning and strategizing on how you invest within that plan and how your money is being invested and how you tax harvesting if you're doing that, or what types of securities you're investing in. Because when a year is over and you get your tax notification, it's too late. Now the tax person is going to apply the tax laws as they are, and there's very little that he or she can do for you at that point in time. So you have to think about what to do going in, and that's where we excel. We allocate your monies in a tax strategic way so that you can, maximize your contributions, maximize your investments while they are in the accumulation phase, minimize taxes, not dodge or, don't do taxes. That's a crime. So you want to minimize them. And then even upon passing, you want to structure it so that you also minimize your taxes, and then it transfers over to your loved ones in a tax strategic and efficient way. But yes, you have double taxation. So you have to look at those countries that have a treaty with the United States. And Kim, I always like coming bearing gifts. And I did this for your group, and I gave them an opportunity to participate in our planning at a reduced cost. And so I want to extend that to your group as well. But I'm going to go beyond because of the subject matter. And it's another thing that we actually made available, and it's live today. So there's many of our clients that we've always managed money for abroad that was here, retired abroad, or went around the world for a little bit and came back. And so they love our flagship Cyborg Advisors funds, our customized portfolios. We rolled out some faith-based portfolios building off of the Cyborg Advisor portfolio. And now, today, my compliance team, my back office told me ahead of this workshop, all of those funds can be managed in any country around the globe for any client that's an American client, goes aboard. The only one that has a little asterisk next to it is Europe, but we're talking retirement, and Europe will allow us to manage retirement accounts, but they won't allow us to manage pure wealth accounts because of their rules. But just about any other country, Mexico, that you mentioned, because I know you're going there, so I wanted to have that available for your viewers. So if you're going to Mexico, or if you're not even a U.S. person, if you live in Mexico, you can open up an account with our firm and get the professional management of our office and institutional managers within the portfolios as well while abroad. And then that's going to help you on the investment side. So when you are in whatever country you're in, your risk intolerance doesn't necessarily change just because you go to Jersey from New York or from, America to Mexico. Your risk tolerance remains the same. So we're going to build a diversified, risk-adjusted portfolio for you that meets your risk tolerance. And then if we know that your goal is to go abroad, we're going to tweak it so to make sure that you have some international exposure, perhaps even in the country that you're going to go in. So when it's time to pull dollars out, that's going to work on your behalf instead of working against you.
Listen, sorry for looking down, but I am taking notes as you speak as well. So wonderful. Listen.
And you can access that off the website. You go to the website, top right corner, get started. When you scroll down, you'll see 3 tabs, and it will say international. Okay. I was told that definitely before coming on here. Good hour. So you'll see it. It'll say international. When you click on that, it will allow you as a person who's a foreigner, or if you a U.S. citizen, just do the regular individual. And then when you go over there, it just automatically transfers.
Okay. Hakeem, the gift that keeps on giving. Listen, yes. You ain't never going to get rid of me from you always come bearing gifts, and that was so unexpected. Hakeem surprised me with that as well. So that's how come I was looking down too, because I was taking notes, even though I could rewatch this just in case I have to refer back to it. I do see some questions coming in, y'all. Y'all say thank you to Hakeem. Like, for those of you who have been asking me for this type of help, I think I over-delivered with Hakeem being here, and I think Hakeem has over-delivered because many people who received his gift the last time, literally invested to get that gift. They invested in themselves to get that gift. You guys are investing your time, but he has made this gracious opportunity available just because you're part of Gym Nation. And even if you're not, hit the subscribe button so you can become part of the Gym Nation.
I'm going to ask that. I'm going to ask that. That's the qualifier. You got to be a part of Gym Nation.
Thank you. And I didn't even introduce myself, y'all. If there's anybody new in here, I am Kim, aka Kim with the Gems. I am the founder of this channel where we talk all things wellness, travel, and finances from a cultural perspective. It's all about each one teach one over here. It's all about making sure we don't all get left behind, right? We take as many as we can with us. And so I see some thank yous coming in. Let me just ask you one more question before,
Sure.
and then we'll get into some of the audience questions because some of them actually tie in with the questions that I have.
Okay,
So
nice.
Understanding, I'm just going to use myself as an example. In Mexico, I was there last year when the exchange rate was about 15, 16 to 1. Right now it's about 20, 21, 20, depending on, where you exchange, but it's about 20 to 1. When it comes to our retirement accounts, what type of risk are there any risk? Let me say, I know it's still being managed here, but what type of consideration should we have when it comes to currency fluctuations? Like, are there any concerns? I know that's a question that I get a lot. Are there any?
Excellent question.
Yeah. Mhm.
So investments are based on assets. We call them assets, and some assets are correlated or work together. Think of a marching band. Everyone's marching to the same tune. We're going to call that correlation in that example. And then, you have some person like Drumline. Remember Drumline? He didn't want to march to the same tune. He stepped out. And so, he jumped out there and said, I don't want to march to the same tune. Well, we're going to call him non-correlated and so forth. And so you always need some correlation and non-correlation in your portfolio. And those correlations come in the form of international exposure, come in the form of real estate, come in the form of precious metals, healthcare, different sectors. And so when we build our portfolios, we start with what's known as modern portfolio theory. Nobel Prize winner won it. We followed it. It's the same philosophy that Benjamin Graham followed, Warren Buffett follows, and some of the greats. So we don't want to recreate the wheel. I learned underneath that, and it's proven over, decades and decades and decades, no matter what kind of market you're in. And it basically gets you a risk-adjusted portfolio with some correlated assets and non-correlated assets. And normally you're going to have some international exposure, but you're typically doing that here as a U.S. citizen. And the fund manager, whether it's a mutual fund or an ETF, they're dealing with the foreign exchange and currency adjustments in the portfolios in the ETF or the mutual fund. But if you decide that you want to go abroad and you are really, really a planner and you are serious and diligent and you have some time on your side and you strategically plan, yes, you can pick up certain investments in that specific country so that it will work out to your advantage instead of working to your disadvantage in your portfolio. And then, you just have a whole different investment objective. And then some people say, well, geez, what about when I'm taking my money out, Hakeem? The U.S. is unique. Again, no matter where you are in the world, they want to tax you on the income you make. And they also say no matter where you are in the world, they want to tax you on those monies that's coming out the retirement plan. So it's not really where you reside at that point in time as a U.S. citizen. You can be anywhere, but if you are a U.S. citizen, funded your retirement plan in this 401k, 403b, 457, and you start pulling it out, Uncle Sam wants the taxes on those dollars no matter where you are. So you want to look for treaties in those countries so that you don't get double taxed. And then once it's in the account, I always recommend to our clients who decide to live abroad, whether it's in Africa, various countries in Africa, whether it's in South America, whether it's in Europe, we always recommend this is where your big banking institutions that normally do not recommend. This is when I do recommend them. The big names, whether it's the Citigroup, that's one of the top in international that I recommend. JP Morgan, Bank of America. These are critical, and Citi, in many cases, outdo them all. And so they have special accounts for their account holders that when they know they're going abroad, you can step up your relationship and get an international wealth management type of relationship there. And then that currency exchange is not going to cost you or penalize you as much. And they have different type of accounts to help you out with that.
First of all, I don't have to say thank you for that because everyone else is saying thank you. So we are going to thank you for that, though. I do appreciate it. That was a detailed breakdown in best practices as it relates to currency fluctuation, etc. So I am going to get into some of the questions. Let's just start with, I want to go from the first one down. Okay. So anonymous friend wants to know, do you think it is wise to keep part of our money outside U.S. For security reasons with U.S. political situation? I just want to preface this by saying this is specific to retirement. The conversation tonight is specific to retirement planning, even if you're not about to leave. So if you are, I don't know your age, I don't know any of that. And so it's hard to give specific information without knowing details about who you are and your goals. So I just wanted to level set that. Hakeem will respond based on today's topic, pre-retirement, retirement planning.
Okay. Absolutely. And thanks for that disclosure. And so given current political environment, everything is geopolitical. I've been a political junkie, so to speak, since literally 8th grade, all the way through, because I learned that you can't separate it. You can't separate money from politics and religion, believe it or not. Those three are all together all the time. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. People say don't go to a family out and talk politics or religion. Well, I disagree with them. There's certain things we should start speaking about at these particular outings so that we can be well informed. And if you rub somebody wrong, guess what? It's okay. That's part of life. Be willing to rub a person wrong. There's a sister that was on TV the other day. I can't remember her name. But the first time I saw her, she was on CNN. She gave them the business. And I loved it. And she's a reporter. And so that's the kind of people you want to be dealing with the politics side. But as it pertains to the specifics of QQQs, that's the NASDAQ, if you will, the NASDAQ 100. And they typically invest in like technology, emerging technologies, high flying technologies, biotech, and those types of things. It's an institutional playground, no question about it. A lot of retail gotten into it as well. It's very volatile. It's an aggressive type of index. So I would be more concerned about the risk and volatility in that index, making sure first that meets your risk, the risk tolerance. If it meets your risk tolerance, the actual index is diversified enough with various industries and sectors that when it comes to the politics, it will take care of itself. Do not try to trade the politics. Don't try to trade the politics. Don't do it. Diverse away from politics, because these are short-term, mid-term at best, and not long-term. So when you're investing, don't invest to the day-to-day politics. Invest for the long run.
Cosign 100%. So let's get to the next question from Moni. Moni is a Gym Nation OG member. So let's go ahead and see the question. If I work for an American company overseas and I contribute to a retirement account, would it still be considered foreign income? I'm new to this.
If you work for the American company overseas and you contribute while overseas, I'm presuming, but it's still American company, yes, it's going to still be treated the way I mentioned at the top, because you're in that particular country and that company has to deal with their own rules in that local country as well, their own taxation, how they treat employees. They do have American type of domicile as well, which is what you're speaking to. But the taxation in that area is still going to account. But this is where that fee, if you will, that FEIE, that foreign exclusion, that foreign earned income exclusion is going to kick in for you.
Thank you. Jackie wants to know if she can still listen. Jackie's out of here. Jackie and her entire family. I want to say, I keep mixing up the numbers, like 8 or 10 of them. They're out of here.
Oh, wow.
So she wants to know, can she contribute after 59?
That's an excellent question. You don't hear too many people talk about contributing after 59. And not only, and maybe this is new to your listeners, but we talk about it because most people say you cannot because they hear the ability to pull it out after 59. Then they know you're going to have monies that they call required minimum distribution at 70. They got rid of the half, so they just call it 70. And so people never think that, geez, can I put money in there? Well, there's something called the enhanced catch-up contribution that goes from age 60 to 63. And so let me take a step back. If you are 50 and older, if you're under 50, you can put $23,500 away into your retirement plan. Under 50. And like most people, many people didn't have the money to do when they was younger. They was educating kids. They didn't know. And so there's a catch-up provision that when you're 50 and older, you can put an additional $7,500 on top of that $23,500. That's why it's called catch-up. And then on top of that, if you are 60 to 63, you can do $11,250 on top of the $23,500. So that is a way where many people say, is it too late for me? It's never too late. Give me a 7 or 10 year run. I'll get you to retirement no matter where you are, where you want to be.
Wonderful. And Hakeem goes, well, Cedric and Hakeem go into greater detail during the the Maximize Assets Grow Abundant session. So if you're interested in that, the link is also in the chat. I saw some more questions. Yep, here we go. Nikki says, I am a union member. I was considering stopping contributing to my 401k. Do you have any thoughts?
I would ask a question before I answer. I know that's not always polite. I would say, what you mentioned your union rep. Stop putting money into your 401k. There's a disconnect there. I'm not sure what the two have to do with each other, but why would you want to stop contributing? That would be the question. Is there a reason why you want to stop contributing?
So, Nikki, if you could give more details, I'll make sure to pull that question up. But we'll go to Deirdre, DV, sorry, another OG gemstone. What if all your eggs are in one basket? TRS.
Excellent question. And you know, it just hit me. You told people to put a Q in front of their question. This is how Wall Street.
I heard you talking about
market. I'm like, listen, everybody got Q questions. Everybody got money in NASDAQ. I'm about to make a note. Alexa, short NASDAQ tomorrow. I'm like, geez, everybody's in NASDAQ.
I heard you say that, but
and then I was like, is everybody in NASDAQ? We're shorting that thing tomorrow. So, but no, you asked me to put a Q in there. That's what it is. I'm like, everybody's in NASDAQ. Get out of here. But no, okay, now I got it. So what if all your eggs are in one basket? So the TRS system, that's a government system. Everyone's eggs is in one employer basket. It's how are you invested within that TRS system is where you're going to be diversified. So look at your specific allocations in there, and then that's how you determine if you're diversified. But more importantly, as you well know, there's a lot of cuts going on in the government. And so, proper planning, prepare for that, and make sure you're diversified. And then, of course, should you leave or decide to leave, whether you stay here or abroad, you roll it over into an IRA. We're doing a ton of work with federal employees with all these layoffs. I mean, a ton of them getting laid off, and we're helping them out. So yeah, we'll help you out with that as well.
I heard you talking about. I'm like, I hope you get that thing. Qs are the index.
Right. I was like, dude, this is like another person. Holy cow! I picked up my pen and made a note. We're shorting this thing first thing in the morning.
Oh goodness. So Jay Vega. So let me just say this as well. Hakeem's not going to give specific personal advice tonight. He gave a gracious opportunity for you to reach out to him for specifics, and he breaks down pensions to the point where he has me making some moves about mine, but I will ask the question, and Hakeem, you can answer in a general form.
Excellent, and you're right on point. Specifically, we do everything personalized. The world is used to a cookie cutter, one size fit all, target date type of fund type of investing. We're bespoke, and we do everything personalized for you based on your goals, your objectives, your risk tolerance, factoring in if you're going to be retiring abroad. We can even customize the portfolio and pick up individual stocks of that country for you in an SMA type of account. And now you can have a whole portfolio of companies in the country that you may be retiring in, and do the same type of research and due diligence that we do on domestic and abroad as well. So yeah, reach us. We'll help you with that. The big question you want to be concerned about, not on the should I go abroad? That's an after question. The real thing you got to be mindful of, don't take the payout from the pension. Take the lump sum. Don't do the pension, spousal, 50% of what you're going to get or 60% of what you're going to do. That's the biggest ripoff on the planet. If you take a pension check that's guaranteeing you a lifetime income at your employer, you absolutely are doing yourself and your family the biggest disservice ever. You want to take the lump sum, roll that over, work with a professional like us. We get the middlemen out the way. We structure the same income strategies for you that you're going to get in that printout. We're going to use that same printout. And the difference is, if you pension, only your spouse can get that money. And if you pass and she passes or he passes, they keep your money. And the average life is about 3.5 to 6 years tops when you when you retire. So they're going to keep all that money. So if you roll it over, we're equal it, in many cases, make it better. The money is completely yours. And then you can name multiple people to get your money if you and your spouse pass, and it'll keep going to the next person. That's more important than leaving the country, or how to structure from leaving the company, because you want to get all your money.
And I just want to add to that. Hakeem woke me up so much with that point. If you have a pension and it's just sitting in a pension account, first of all, there's so many things that could go wrong, right? There's and we had someone in the Maximize Assets Grow Abundance community who's dealing with that now. The company that owns the pension may not have enough liquidity, or may be going on anyway. But I just had a conversation with the tax professional that we have in the MAGA community, and he was telling me that someone that he knows in his community was 2 weeks away from retirement, had, after working 30 years at this company, had divorced 5 years earlier. And guess what happens to that pension? Poof. He has children.
Correct. They can't even get it.
They can't get it.
They can't even get it.
So do yourself a favor. If you are in that situation, contact Hakeem to get you right. And also feel free to join the MAGA community. Okay, so there are more
questions. And
questions.
Your spouse, by the way, Kim, for those, many attorneys don't know this either, your spouse gets half your pension regardless. So it's not a negotiable item. Some people go into divorce proceedings trying to negotiate that and get bamboozled because the lawyers don't know. It's a non-negotiable. Negotiate something else. He or she gets half.
Yeah. So a lot of us just, we're used to just waiting till we retire to collect our pensions and not even thinking about the fact that if something happens to the pensioner, right? The person, the pensionee, the pensioner. I always get those mixed up. But the person who owns the pension, it's just like for nothing.
They are going to come after unions. Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So
I have 11 more years.
Is back with the second part. So
I see.
Yeah.
If they're going after the union, you should be probably more concerned about the job, not.
I think she's talking about Project 2025 mandates, how they plan to come after unions.
Right. That's correct. And when they're coming after the unions, they're coming to bust the union. This is an old movie. Ronald Reagan bust the unions in the 80s. And they're just picking up that playbook that came to Newt Gingrich, that came to the next. So it's nothing new. So the union piece, if they bust the union and they go after unions, that just means you're not going to have organized labor, so to speak. But as it pertains to your pensions are governed by pension boards, pension guarantee act, the ERISA Act, 401ks are governed that way. So pensions, you go to jail. This is why you don't have too many pensions in corporations today. And this is why municipalities and why you don't leave them, because so many of them are underfunded. And you go to jail if you mess around pensions. So from that standpoint, your pension should be good. But if they go after unions, job security, indoor, how they contribute to your pension is more of a concern.
Okay, hopefully that was helpful, Nikki. So with Ms. P, another OG, is setting up a trust within an IRA create tax benefit for the individual living abroad? Are there any tax benefits to setting up a trust as a retirement account? I may be getting this confused. I'm confused, so I don't know if you understand.
Excellent question. I get the gist of what you're striving to do. No, I don't particularly suggest putting retirement accounts into trust, because trust transfers by way of beneficiaries. And beneficiaries, if you put your appropriate beneficiaries on your retirement accounts, you avoid probate, and you don't have to even worry about a will in that case. It transfers directly to who you name on that beneficiary form.
You're saying the IRA will transfer on the.
So the trust. The reason why you don't want to put the IRA in a trust, because you're going to create, you're going to void out the tax strategies of the beneficiary,
right,
and you're going to moving into a trust, and now the trust becomes, control, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
Okay.
You don't want to do that.
Yes.
So you want to put non-retirement accounts in trust, and individual type things, real estate in there. I would leave my retirement accounts out of the trust. And then to the second part, is this going to help you from a tax standpoint? No, there's nothing that's going to help you avoid the tax coming out of retirement plans, because they've gone in pre-tax, or in the IRA case, you got a deduction during tax time. What you have to do, that you can take out consistent monthly amounts per month for over a 4 or 5 year period. That mitigates some of the taxes. That's a strategy that can be used. Maybe your income is at a lower tax bracket, so that's going to help on the income side. And if you're getting 130 excluded, that would mitigate it. Truth be told, most people try to focus heavy on that income coming out. We have it a little backwards, if I can say so. We have it a little backwards. A lot of talking heads try to make people poor. I've been poor. There's nothing good about poverty. Trust me. Sitting in class and have to get kicked out of your class because they didn't pay tuition, by people that have it. There's nothing good about poverty. So the only way you're going to be doing these mitigations is to kind of make yourself poor. No. Make yourself wealthy and wealthy and wealthy. Strategize and then work with experts on how it invests, and then work with experts on how to put money out, how to offset it with other investments. And we have the professionals, a part of Kim's organization, myself, and we can help with how you investing it ahead of pulling out. And then when it's time to pull out, our goal is to get as much money in your account as you possibly can have. And then we'll deal with the tax codes down the road.
All right. I'm talking and I'm not on the screen. Okay, so we're going to, and you know what? Instead of me asking questions, we'll just get through the rest of these questions because so many of them are relatable. And I'm so happy to see so many people. So Hakeem, just so you know, I'm not even sure if you're aware, but starting on November 10th, I think it was, of 2024, I started this whole Stay Ready movement, and it was in order. It was after, the results came in and we knew where we were headed. And so all of these conversations that we've been having since November 10th have been designed to keep us ready and not get away from the breaking news stories and all this chaos and confusion, and plan and hyper focus on your money, honey, right? And all of your assets. And so this is the birth. This is one of the branches of that tree. So Jackie has another question. My investment is with Fidelity. My husband and I will be switching from W-2 to 1099. Do you have to switch or accounts to the solo? I think it's supposed to be our accounts to the solo and stop investing in our Roth.
Excellent question. So let's unpack a little bit. I love when I hear Fidelity, because we just love taking clients from Fidelity. So I look to earn the right to help you and your husband. Let's start there. As far as going from W-2 to 1099, that means you're going to be self-employed. Depending on what you plan to do and how soon you start earning money, you can do it now, or we can do it at some point in the future. The first thing is go from Fidelity to an IRA. We'll roll it out of Fidelity, roll it into your own IRA. And then from there, it getting customized, personalized, when invested based on your goals and objectives. We're factoring what you're going to be doing as a self-employed individual, getting 1099. And let's say, for example, you need funding for your business and you want to self-fund. I just helped a Caterpillar employee who unfortunately was retired, and he wanted to move into real estate, and then also how to mitigate his taxes. So you can roll that ultimately into a solo, and then that will give you the benefits of borrowing money out, just like you was able to do at your employer, as well as take out withdrawals, and that'll get you a good amount of money, depending on your account balance, that can help you, seed your own business, if you will. I did that early in my career. I've done it several times throughout. I use my own capital versus loans, and that's a very, very strategic way to do it. And then if you're earning money in your business and you want to start contributing to a plan, certainly I would recommend a solo to achieve that, because it's going to work similar to the 401k. Now, you mentioned and stop investing in the Roth. One, I would ask, are you investing in the Roth 401k at your employer? If you were investing in a Roth 401k at your employer, those contribution limits are the same that I mentioned at the top, 23.5, 7.5, etc. They're just after tax. If you are investing in the Roth IRA, that's 7.5, and then you got a catch-up provision of about another $1,000. You can put, about $8,000 in a regular Roth IRA. But as a spouse, there are some income restrictions that you're going to be mindful of, and I'll certainly go over that if I earn the right to help you and your husband. But in short, I'm going to say roughly $230-something thousand as married people. If you make more than that, you can't, fund your Roth. So there's other specific things there.
Okay, so Everyone's loving this valuable information, Hakeem. Can we get you for 10 more minutes?
Yeah, we good.
Okay,
And it
perfect.
should be 246 on the married. If you married 246,000. If you earn more than 246, you can't contribute to a Roth.
Okay. Jay Vega says thank you. Shell says super valuable info about the pension. Nikki said something about something's awful. I'm not sure what that was, but you answered something, I'm sure. DV loves. Okay. Nikki said I have a pension and a 401k. And then Geneva, what about opening self-directed IRA accounts? Does that provide any more protection than Roth or traditional?
Excellent question. And so the types of retirement accounts is governed by the corporate structure. So if you're not for profit, that's where you get the 403B or the 457 municipality or 401k for corporate. So that's just what we call types of retirement accounts based on that company's structure. But most, if not all, retirement plans are going to be governed by ERISA and pension if you have pension, Department of Labor if you're an employer. And so the tax code is working the same across the board for those. Pre-tax for the 401k, 403, 457, 23.5 is your limit. Over 50, you can contribute an additional 7.5, et cetera, et cetera. IRAs work the same. Only thing you don't get to pre-tax it because the IRA stands for individual retirement account, and you don't have payroll, if you will, pre-taxing it. But there's some states doing mandatory IRAs now, so that's changing too. But the limits are less, 7,500 with an extra 1,000, I believe it is, for catch-ups over 50. But then all the other 59 to pull it out without an early withdrawal penalty of 10% plus 10% tax, and things of that nature. And then if you go abroad, Uncle Sam doesn't care where you go. You contribute it here. He wants that money. But there's strategy. You can take out systematic payments if you want to mitigate your tax that you're paying because you're getting systematic, and you can avoid early withdrawal penalties in that regard as well.
Thank you for that. Nikki says very helpful. Jay Vega says Invisible Hands by Kim Phillips. Fine, good read on the history of the Conservative Party in the U.S. Okay. Ms. P says thank you. Christine wants to call out Hakeem's. One of his mantras is by Wayne Gretzky. Can you just share that mantra, Hakeem? Absolutely. It was so helpful in our course. Yes,
I learned this, believe it or not, in high school. I had left Truman in the Bronx and went to school in New Rochelle, and it was predominantly white school, Catholic school, and they made us play hockey to graduate. We had to play hockey. And all the few little blacks that were there, we were like, what the heck? But we couldn't graduate unless we played hockey. So like many things, okay, guess what? That's the rule. So now we're going to do it, but we're going to excel at it once we realize that it's pretty much like basketball, but just on skates. And in that time period, Wayne Gretzky was one of the top and still one of the best hockey players out there. And he was asked, why are you so great? And he said, well, I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where the puck is. And so most people are investing because the market's up today, or because real estate is hot today, or Bitcoin was hot right after the election. You don't want to invest like that. You got to know where it's going and be mindful with some foresight and some insight that way. And you may look like a fool a lot of times, but that's okay. You're in good company because that's how Warren Buffett does it. That's how all the greats, anyone that's accumulated real wealth. I'm thinking about North Carolina, where they had those hurricanes and so forth, because they're not Asheville.
Yeah, Asheville. Yeah.
They're not giving them the money from for there. But I know there's a mine there. And that mine has most of the precious metals that we need for all of this AI and high tech. So, and of course, the West Coast, they're trying to get those folks out of there.
Yeah.
And they're going to do something great there. Middle East, things of that nature, Africa, places like that. And then, of course, different industries. And if you was part of Kim's group, we went through detailed places to put your money in emerging markets.
And we are bringing it back one more again for the spring cohort. If you're interested, a small group, it's not a large group. We like to keep it individual so that people like Hakeem can literally answer detailed questions about your specific situation. You can always go to Hakeem's website, but if you want to get the type of insight that he just shared from the Wayne Gretzky strategy and how it relates to investing today, especially with all the smoke and mirrors chaos that is here to divert us, feel free to sign up for the next cohort. The link is in the chat. So Carla says, thank you for answering the question about IRA related to putting them in a trust. Okay. I saw some more. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Ms. P wants to know, with the way Social Security is going, I was waiting for that question because listen, I've heard it so many times.
Over and over.
Do you think it is wise to include that anticipated income from Social Security into your retirement income? I hope to retire in 10 years.
Excellent question. I'm from high school. I was being taught from high school, don't rely on Social Security. Right. and so, if you do the numbers, 37 plus trillion in debt. Okay. Here's just some truth. This is not a political statement. This is just a factual financial statement. You can't pay that back the way things are going. And it's not really rich versus poor. It's trade-offs. The government has to sell bonds in a fractional banking system, which we live underneath in capitalist societies. The banking system that we all live underneath is called fractional reserve, meaning you put 1,000 in, the bank only has to leave 10% of that 1,000 in the bank. They loan out the rest. And then they keep levering up and loaning out the rest. And that fractional amount is what we call a fractional reserve system. And so when you're running for that APR rate, because they show you another 5% of APR rate, you're actually running into a burning building, into your own demise. Because when you get that higher yield, you're eroding your purchasing power with that higher yield, because you're giving them the more money they need to make more loans. And if you're not getting a loan, then your purchasing power is going under. And so the fractional reserve system works like that. And as a result of it, you want to be mindful that the government has to sell bonds to finance everything it does. Who buys bonds? Poor people don't buy bonds. And I'm not talking about the savings bonds you gave your kids, and I got when I was a little kid, the 50 to turn 130 years later or something like that. We all got those, and our grandparents got them because that's all they knew. But that's part. But you're talking 100,000 at a clip, 1 million at a clip, 10 million at a clip. These are the bonds to finance operations for federal, state, and local government. And rich people buy them. Poor people don't. So the government says, guess what? We'll keep your taxes low. And the trade-off is you're going to buy our bonds to run the country. That's a beautiful trade-off, because someone has to finance operations, and rich people do that. So it's really not a rich-poor war, as it were. It's really understanding how capitalists work, fractional banking system works, and then, navigating. So I'm a big proponent coming out of high school, trying to lobby to get Social Security privatized. And don't be afraid if they move that way. Celebrate if they move that way. Because then you can work with your own advisor, such as myself and our firm, and then we will manage your Social Security based on your goals and objectives, and you won't have to worry about the meager returns that you're getting in Social Security, no control over it. The person that made reference to the TRS, they gave me a little inclination that they're probably not in the growth side of the allocation of the TRS, and they're not maximizing it. And that's the same thing with Social Security. They were not maximizing it. They was using it to finance the wars and everything else they do.
I know people was like, what you talk about, Willis, with the privatization? Because we are so focused on the wrong things right now. First of all, the moves that they are making right now are so far ahead of what they're talking about right now, right? Like Hakeem said, I've heard that my mother used to say Social Security won't be around when it's time for me to collect,
Absolutely.
right? So take advantage of whatever that new normal is going to look like, and get yourself aligned with some ethical people. Hence why Hakeem is part of the Gym Nation family and the MAGA family, because I hear too many people fear-mongering about Social Security in order to get you to make financial moves with them, even though they've only learned about finances during the pandemic and have no credentials whatsoever. Get yourself aligned with somebody who has 30 years in the game, has seen all types of ebbs and flows, has seen market crashes and market rebounds. And so, yes, definitely do yourself a favor. Schedule time with Hakeem in addition to the solo 401k. If you go to his website, you'll see all types of resources that he has based on whatever your needs are. So thank you for sharing that again.
In 10 years, if you have 7 to 10 years, I can get you to retirement no matter what. And I don't use, we do Social Security optimization, but we try to strive for 75 to 85% income replacement of what you're earning to get you to your retirement goal. But don't believe in financial security. That is a myth. That's a Wall Street myth. Believe in financial freedom, because Kim may need $20,000 a month. You may need $7,000. Another person may need $30,000. And so you personalize it to get you to what you need. And retirement does not take age. It takes money.
And it's never too early or too late to start planning this. This is why Hakeem, he understands that we're focusing on the wrong things. These are the things we need to be focused on. Let's start planning for what they have already written. Yeah. So Christine says, love you, Hakeem. Thank you for your expertise. I think there was, okay, I don't know. I don't see any more questions. Oh, Geneva says she'll be reaching out. Thank you for explaining that. We have a new rock girl in the building.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about, New Rochelle. Blessed Sacrament.
I lived in New Rochelle for about 8 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Great question. This would be one resources as well. Okay. I don't see any other questions, but I do want to just make sure I don't have any more on the paper, because I think there was, like I said, there was somebody who's in the MAGA community who had Bible study tonight and couldn't make it. So let me just make sure that.
Let me mention this while you thumb through it. And I know in other groups they ask this, and they may ask it, what do I do for currency transfers? That did come up early on. I said I would touch on it again. Reputable currency transfers include, WISE, WISC is one, OFX, Zoom, which is owned by PayPal, of course, the good faithful MoneyGram, and Absolute, the stellar faithful that's been around forever, and that are Western Union. So those are some of the currency transfer services that are reputable that you can look to when you're in these other countries. But, look to your bank. This is where the big banks really shine, because the big banks are not designed for individuals. So if you're in a big bank and you're an individual and you don't have a business account, or you're not, a million plus, you should be in a credit union. Let's start there. That's how you maximize your money. Get out of the big banks. And if you're Wells Fargo, holy cow, we may borrow you from the next thing. No, I'm only joking. Don't put your money in Wells Fargo's. They have history of just doing bad to people, and especially brown and black people. So stay away from them. They've tried to turn around, but listen, I wouldn't rock with them. Citibank, from international standpoint, is one of the best. J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, and they offer services for their customers to transfer in various currencies. You won't have to use some of the currency transfers that I made reference to, but those are some reputable ones.
Wonderful. And before I ask the last question, please do us a favor. Say thank you to Hakeem by hitting that like button. Also, subscribe if this is your first time here. We're bringing Hakeem back next week. And I believe we didn't confirm, is it the same time next week?
Yes.
Or okay, 8:30 Wednesday. Hakeem will be back and he will be answering questions in addition to speaking about smart retirement solutions for entrepreneurs, the solo 401k, and how it aligns with your values. So the theme is actually empowering entrepreneurs to grow their retirement savings. So even if you're not at retirement age, God willing, you will get there. So let's get you prepared along the way. So that is next week. And Hakeem's website, once again, is listed on the screen. It's also multiple times in the chat. It will also be in the description for this week's session. And also check out the resource or learn more about the Maximize Assets, Grow Abundance wealth creation course, where Hakeem lets us know like where the hockey puck is going, or how to pay attention to where the hockey puck is going and how these elites are moving. And history tends to repeat itself. So you're more than welcome to join that as well. So I did see one more question, and then.
And on our website, you can get ahead of next week. I don't know what question is going to be asked, but we have a section with the employer tab at the top specifically for solos. And we have the first only digital solo 401k in the country. So you can do it. You can sign up as much time it takes for to drink a cup of coffee. You can have your account set up.
Thank you. And then you kind of, I think, answered it, but this was a specific question that I want to make sure it's easily understood and I could share. How do I access my US-based retirement funds while I'm living abroad?
Oh, excellent question. So we recommend you always keep a US address, for one. Keep your US address. Have a banking relationship with a US bank before you go. And then that bank, if you can get a bank like the Citibank I mentioned, or JP Morgan, it's the only time I really amplify them. Bank Santander in South America is a solid bank. So if you're able to have those banks that have international branches, that's going to make life easier for you. But if you have your bank here and you're an international bank like that, you're going to get direct deposit in a reputable bank in that country that you're going to reside in. And then they'll just direct deposit. It's similar to how you get direct deposit from your employer now. They will ACH it or wire. Don't do wire. Let them direct deposit it into whatever bank you're going to be banking with in that other country, presuming you don't have a branch from the bank here.
Okay. Thank you, Hakeem. And then I'm a summer girl. Haven't seen you for a minute, but hey, can or should someone have more than one company manage retirement accounts? I'm not old enough to retire, but I took early retirement from a major insurance company that dealt with Charles Schwab.
Nice. So, I like to keep it simple. There is no benefit for having multiple companies manage your retirement account. Develop a relationship with someone you trust. Hopefully we can earn the right to be that trusted advisor for you. And in today's era, we all have access to the same investment legal securities on exchanges. We all have access to them. So you're not going to lose anything by being with one person. But I like to focus on, things that are not necessarily just industry driven, like good customer service. We call it 4 season service, financial literacy, those type of things. And then you just develop the relationship. So develop the relationship, find someone you can trust. And I would not have, you don't have 2 OBGYN doctors. You don't have 2 dentists. You don't have that. So no, I wouldn't do that.
And Christine asked the same question you just answered that someone else in the group had asked about your favorite way to access money when abroad. Oh, access money, not retirement money.
Access money, and it's the same, because the retirement money is going to go into a particular bank account. And if there's not retirement money, it's already in the bank account. So this is where, banks like the Citigroup shine, JP Morgan shine. Those big banks shine because they have multiple branches internationally, and they have services for U.S. customers that they help out with when you're abroad. And many things can be free for you as a U.S. customer, and you move into the international private wealth management side. And we actually put a strategic relationship with JP Morgan ourselves to deliver private wealth management for people at JP Morgan, using us and still using some of their funds and stuff and services. So yeah, that's how I would do it.
So listen, there's a reason why I have this map of the world. I'll be over here someday.
Nice.
But the beautiful thing is you can absolutely move anywhere and keep your retirement accounts safe, keep them growing, and be able to access them. And Hakeem is a wonderful, there's something going on upstairs, but Hakeem is a wonderful person to speak with to help you manage that process, whether you're ready to retire now, next year, 10 years from now. So thank you, Hakeem.
Thank you for having me.
Gym Nation. I just want to shout out some of the MAGA people. You may not see them by their different names, but Cynthia's here.
Oh, nice.
Is here. I saw a few others. Shell is here. Shell Yes is here. And a few others. Oh, Carla is here. Hey, Carla. Carla, you actually, did you connect with Hakeem because you were one of the recipients of one of the prizes?
Yes,
so,
that's correct. I haven't seen anything hit yet.
So you should have the
gift card.
The gift card, yes. Right. Okay. All right. So if I forgot to call you out in your part, LJ is here too. But nice. If I missed you, I apologize. We are going to let Hakeem.
Thank you so much, Kim. Thank everyone for tuning in. Certainly do the like, refer, reach us. When you reach us, make reference to this call, and we'll honor those things that we gifted out. And thank you again. Bye for now.
Okay. Thank you, Hakeem. And I'll say good night as well, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Excuse me, not tomorrow. I will see you Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to connect the dots from the executive orders and Project 2025, what has already been checked off their list and what they still have to accomplish in the first 180 days. We're going to review that on Friday at 11 a.m. And then Flawless Community, we meet tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyone who wants to join the Flawless Community, you can find the link in the description, read more about it, and we meet by Zoom. So thank you, everyone. I know this was great. Please reach out to Hakeem. I'm telling you, there are so many unethical people in this world of finance. I want to make sure my people are good. And I'm only going to bring ethical people to you. And so do yourself a favor, take advantage of his offer and get your money together, honey. Y'all know we have to stay ready health-wise. We have to stay ready financial, with our finances. And as we travel, we need to be great global citizens. And so anyway, no more rambling. Thank you for joining tonight. Hit that like button, and I'll see everyone on Friday, 11 a.m. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.